My wandering taste buds have traveled all the way to the country of Ireland, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I made this Guinness beef stew. You'll definitely want to try it. So these are the ingredients for my for the Guinness beef stew. I'm going to be using, of course, beef, and then we have the vegetables, which are also like aromatics. We have carrots, celery, onions, garlic, and then for more flavor we have some tomato paste, very important. We have some flour. This is going to be used to, like just thicken the stew and add some body to it. I'm going to be using bouillon cubes because I need some beef broth, but these are chicken bouillon, which is fine. I have some black pepper in there. This is my can of Guinness Stout. If you don't take alcohol, you can just replace this with this, but the Guinness gives it a definitely special taste. I have some Worcestershire sauce. This is important, but it's not, if you don't have it, it's fine, but it definitely impacts a lot of flavor. I have thyme. It's in a basil container, but it's thyme, and then salt. So these are the ingredients, very few ingredients. And like I said, I'm going to be pairing this stew with mashed potatoes, which I'll also be showing you. So I've gone ahead to peel my carrots with a vegetable peeler. So I'm going to chop that up into chunks. I'm also going to slice up my celery. I'm going to slice up my garlic and my onions, and also cut up the beef, in smaller sizes. Let me also say that today is the day before I want to eat this, and this stew gets better the next day, but it doesn't matter. You can cook it the same day that you want to eat it, but the reason why I'm doing some stuff today is because I don't want to be overwhelmed tomorrow like I was during Christmas. So yeah, all right, let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and prep my veggies now. The carrots have been peeled, the garlic have also been peeled, and they're all cut up right now. My celery, my carrots, my garlic and onions, and those are important to this dish. Now we'll cut up our beef into bite-sized pieces. And let me mention about celery. Some people, they wonder where you can find those kinds of ingredients. Spar. I always get all my veggies that you would not find in your regular market at Spar the supermarket. So now we're going to season our beef, and before we start to fry it up. So I'm just seasoning it very, very simply with salt, black pepper, and flour. The flour is going to serve as a thickening agent, like I said, and it's going to make that sauce really velvety and smooth. So just going to go ahead and add all those ingredients and then mix them up right there on the chopping board before we start to fry. So guys, if this is your first time on my channel, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate you guys. I've seen a lot of following ever since CCME shouted me out on her community page, and I'm really, really grateful. Thank you so much for joining this little family on this corner of YouTube. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for sticking with me. God bless you. I really appreciate you guys. Yeah. All right, guys. So as you've seen, I have just mixed up the beef with all the ingredients. You just want to make sure each cube of beef is coated with the flour, the salt, and the black pepper. I'm going to be leaving the ingredients list below like I always do, and the measurements, so be sure to check that in the description box. So we'll go ahead and start to fry up our beef. Now you need some patience here because you want the beef to develop color around it, and as you start to fry it, it's going to release its own juices, and it will look like, oh, is this not just cooking like cooked beef? But be patient and just let it be. Don't touch it. All the liquid is going to evaporate. Some of it is going to get incorporated back into the beef, making you to have a juicy piece of meat. So and you have to do this in batches. You don't want to overcrowd your beef in the pot because it won't fry, it won't develop color. You know, that process of developing color around the beef is flavor. It's very essential to this, you know, process of making this beef stew. You want to develop that flavor. So I went ahead and did this in batches, and by the time I was done, I think most of the oil was out. And you don't have to add more oil because yeah, this is not supposed to be oily. This is supposed to be velvety and smooth. And so I go in with my onions and just let them get a little bit translucent, as you can see. And then we add our garlic to it, let that release its fragrance a little bit, and we'll move on to the next step. So next we're going in with our veggies, our carrots and our celery. If you don't have the celery, if you're not able to find it, sincerely you can skip it. Like I said, for the Worcestershire sauce, if you don't have that, you can skip it. It's still going to be delicious, you know, but it's not going to have that rounded flavor. Also, if you don't take alcohol, like I already mentioned, you can totally leave out the Guinness. Just use more stock, you know, more liquid to replace that quantity. And I think I'll leave some information about that in the description as well. So I go ahead to season with thyme. If you can get fresh thyme, even better, but your dry thyme works perfect. And then I go in with my paste, tomato paste, and you want to let that fry up a bit. You know, that tomato paste has a sort of sour taste to it, so you want to let that fry up, and as it does that, it will release some sweetness. And I'm gonna head to add my Worcestershire sauce, just a few dashes. I want to let that sort of fry up a bit with our veggies, and then we add our beef. See, the beef still has some juices in the plate. Add everything, but you see all that color around the beef, that is flavor. All right, so we go in with our star, the Guinness Stout. I told you I got this recipe from Ireland, and you know that Ireland is the birthplace of Guinness Stout. So I mean, yeah. And this actually is usually served at their pubs and bars with like crusty bread, and you just dip it into the sauce or the stew as you know, sip on a nice beer or something. So yeah, I went ahead to add my stock. So it was just my chicken bouillon cube in some water. You know, I let it dissolve and then I added it, and I let that cook for about an hour on low heat. You know, you just want you don't want the liquid to dry out too fast, so you want to make sure it's on low heat while it's cooking, so that the beef is getting tender while, you know, the juices are not drying out too fast. I've gone ahead to taste it. I added some salt, I added some black pepper, and very importantly, if you're using Guinness, you have to add sugar to balance out the taste, because Guinness is bitter. Okay, it is. So you have to add some sugar to balance out the taste. And at the end of the day, you don't even taste like the Guinness, you just taste like a really deep flavor. Like, it gives a depth of flavor to the stew. So I'm just checking to see if, you know, everything is cooked to satisfaction. At this point, I still let it go for about another 30 minutes. And like I said in the beginning, I was serving this the next day, so I was going to still heat this up, you know, for a bit. So after about another 30 minutes, it was ready, and I just let it cool and put it in the fridge until the next day. Yes, it was New Year's. This was made for New Year's. And like I said, I served this with some mashed potatoes. I will be showing you guys that recipe soon, but I didn't like the way the video I filmed came out. So that is the mashed potatoes. It's not looking as creamy as I wanted it to look, so I have to redo that. But it was still delicious. Everybody loved it. It was so good. And the flavors develop even better the next day. That's the flavors of the stew. So good.
So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.